Okay, dokes.
Can you close the door?
Part 2.
Thank you.
Chapter 6 through time.
What?
Commence.
Man, it's okay.
Thank you. Is it playing with the guac?
Yeah.
I mean, what was chapter 6?
Let's see. What page does it start on?
Oh, she's with Frank and Annette
Oh, that's right.
with the liquor.
Abby, the door.
That's right.
We found out she never completed her degree too, and I think that's a
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was the page right after, and when we were wondering. That was cool. I like that. I mean, I don't like that she didn't finish. I'm saying it's cool.
Yeah.
That we found out.
I hope that she kind of comes back and like
No.
she completes it, you know, like for her mom.
Yeah.
Because she had promised her. I kind of got the vibe where she was like, she's kind of like always horny. Am I like, right? Like she's always like, I don't know, in the mood, I guess.
Every time she sees a guy, she
Like
just
you-
his physical looks, and then he's not attractive, but I kind of want him, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah, the fact that she just wants a body next to her. I think she just misses that physical touch. And then there was a part where I think Doug gave her the feather, and his touch, wherever he touched her hand or something, and then like obviously he removed his hand, she was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like it's burning, because she hasn't had physical touch from, you know, a male. And I was like, oh shoot. And especially because she's with all these men and she's the only one in the woods, so obviously también como que, oh my gosh, so many options, but at the same time I'm like, yo, her freaking 12 condoms, dude.
Yeah.
And then she takes that one back.
So who did, the mystery though? Who did she find out? Did she find out who gets them?
No, she doesn't. But you know what's
Oh.
funny? When like at the end when she says like something was missing, the whole condoms, and I'm like, oh my gosh, who took them? And at first I was like, okay, who cares? But then the fact that she kept bringing it up, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're like the same person. Like the fact that you want to know and I want to know, and I'm like, bruh, was it Doug and freaking Tom, and then she was like, oh, or was it Greg? And she's like, yeah.
And then she stays with Greg a little longer, so I totally thought they were gonna hook up, but then they didn't.
Me too.
No, she's gonna hook up with someone on this trail.
Definitely.
Like she's going to hook up with someone on the trail.
I think it's gonna be
She
Doug.
slid a condom into her back pocket. She has one.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's Doug, because there's a little
The attractive one, right? Like the two young guys.
The 24-year-old.
Yeah.
We're getting
It's around her age.
A lot of like, we're getting a lot of like, what do you call it? Like spotlight. Like she's mentioning him a lot, and I'm like, why? But
it's interesting that most of the people that she runs into are really nice and they're like helping her, because if you guys got to the part where she's like literally running out of money, and I know I like to plan her stuff like in terms of what she's gonna pack. I'm like, why didn't you pack a credit card? You know, especially because then like towards the end she gets to some people who maybe are not as nice, and then I mean even Frank's wife Annette said she was suspicious. You know, I said she was suspicious, so I'm like, well, I think I would like the security of a credit card or at least a debit card.
Especially when she gets down to 65 cents. Oh.
Yeah, and she's like, what can I get for 65 cents? And they're like, well, for 70, you can get a cup of coffee. Not even the cup of coffee, dude.
Damn, where is this? Where can I go get a cup of coffee for 70 cents?
Back in the 90s.
Yeah. I did find that interesting that everyone was nice, and I like that. Obviously, since not a lot of girls go by themselves and they look at the register, they're like, oh, Cheryl Strayed? Oh, the one with the big backpack? I'm like, oh, this is kind of cute. It's like in like a right away, like a bond that was created just because she's the only one who's out there by herself.
And the only girl.
Yeah.
I wrote the boys are chismosos for sure because they all seem to know like a lot about her and each other. And then I liked that when she was talking about the word trail angel and that there's a vernacular for hiking. I think there's like a vernacular for all different types of hobbies. Even crocheting, like I come up with some terms and sometimes I see like crocheters on Instagram use them. And I didn't even know what it meant until this weekend. And then I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So like every hobby has its own vocabulary. And it's cool.
And the fact that she picked her last name, that's not her real last name.
Yes,
that
that's what I
was
was gonna say.
cool.
I didn't see that coming.
But like the reason why she picked that name, she's like, it was picked for me. Like it was meant
Yeah.
to be. It was like the meaning behind it.
And I think it's like the most perfect word she could have gotten. Because honestly, I'm like, oh, that's her last name or whatever. But then when she's like, oh, I was hyphen, and I was like, what? Why isn't she mentioning? And it's like, because that would be like mentioning her identity and the fact that,
Yeah.
you know, and I was like, oh shit. Yo, I thought that was cool.
I was scandalized when she was burning her books, but I mean, it makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I know. And we mentioned that too.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to happen this quick though. One of them was completely like burned, right? She's like, oh, that one's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so she was so desperate to lighten her load. And I'm like, why did you pack so much?
It's the 12 condoms.
She didn't bring the condoms.
Let's see.
I also thought it was kind of cool, like when she first met Greg, how like she wanted to give up at that point, but then she met him, and he was like getting her, or like he kept saying that they're gonna meet at the what are they called? The
Kennedy Meadows.
So like that just motivated her to like get there and be like,
Mm-hmm.
I already kind of committed, so I have to see
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And then also when she mentions the dog and the other guy,
And
they were
Tasha's like,
behind me. Yeah,
yeah.
that was really cool.
Yeah.
They will not beat me.
That's kind of nice because it's like, I feel like not overall in life, like you're trying to quit. Like that sounds very morbid. But, you know, like you have your lows and then something happens like around, like they're strangers to her, but they show up and she's like, you know what, I'm going to keep going. And then it's like you get that motivation, you get influenced, you get inspired, and I don't know, a little lesson in life. Like whether you're low, something will eventually come up and make it better. That's kind of cool. I really like this quote, which goes too deep. She's like, I was nothing to them and they were everything to me. And she's talking about like the wilderness, but like I feel like you can bring that, and she said it again. I forgot for what, but I'm like, wow, that's like so deep. I just had to highlight it, and I put it in the book club story because I was like, I can't. This is beautiful. That's the one quote I will like remember this book by. I don't know. I just like that she's getting really deep. Like the fact that she says, I haven't cried, but yes, she's thinking about all the stuff she's going through, hike wise.
I thought it was interesting when she said about like when she was purging her backpack. And I like wrote LOL, she brought condoms and a razor. Like you don't need a razor in the wilderness.
Yeah.
I was thinking that kind of like what we were talking about last week, where she's letting go of all this stuff, like the trauma and then loss too. Like I thought like, okay, she lost the opportunity to like finish her degree. So I took that as kind of a loss because it impacted her. Like maybe she could have had a career as well. But then I also thought maybe instead of like losing stuff, it's more like letting go. So I wrote maybe she's letting go of traditional beauty standards and men. But then like I kept reading and I'm like, no, she's still thirsty. But she talks about her body a lot, like her toenails falling off and her body looking like, you know, bruised and you know, scabs and red. And so I'm thinking maybe she's gonna come out of this kind of like with more like being a little less superficial, kind of. You know, I don't need this. I don't need the razor.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Especially when she was gonna go to dinner with the guys, where she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the tent and get ready," and she's like, "I can't get ready." Like,
You're,
all
like,
she was
wearing
put, I
everything.
think, a necklace on que tenía like her mom's earring or something,
Yeah.
because she's like, I'm gonna be one of the guys. Like, there's without I can't do anything about it, and she just has to accept it. And I feel like that also goes like overall in this portion, like her mentality is changing. Like, I don't know, like she's obviously becoming stronger mentally, obviously physically too, but I feel like she's really reflecting on how far she's come.
Especially towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, when she encounters the fox, she's just like, Mom.
That was so sad.
Yeah, and then she's like, well, that's just something. What did she say? That she's not, like, she's longing for her mom, but it's something she will never be able to encounter.
Get
Like,
back.
yeah. So that was pretty harsh.
Yeah, because at first I was like, oh my gosh, is the fox gonna do something to her? Because the
Yeah.
fox seemed really nice. Like, I, man's minding his own business.
Yeah.
But then it seemed like something was gonna happen. And then that's when she screams mom. And I feel like it's like she was, how do you say, she hadn't fully like grieved, or she hadn't coped with it. And it was like if there was like this one bubble stuck in there and she got scared with the fox and it just came out and she's like, oh shoot, like I miss my mom and I can't get her back.
Yeah.
Ugh, the reality of it.
I like that she named her bag Monster too.
I know. I wrote that. I put she upgraded her backpack from Volkswagen to Monster.
I forgot she called it.
Yeah, she called Volkswagen.
I decided to name my bag too. No.
Oh my gosh, what is it?
Well, it's an Osprey brand, and the name of it is the Viper. So I'm not going to fancy. I'm just going to start calling it Viper.
I need to get myself a bag.
They're really useful. The quote I wrote down was, "My stench was magnificent too," because I just felt like after 3 weeks, like you would just be very gross.
Right.
Especially, I could like picture when she was at the hotel taking a
Mhm.
shower, like how relieving that is.
The
Yeah.
puddle of
Yeah. And the hot water, just like the hot water on your body.
I
I
think
mean, after a weekend, it feels amazing. I can't imagine after 3 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, I made a connection to our past book and this book, and I just wrote in both books there have been like father-mother issues and wilderness and snow. I feel like she also was really impacted by her dad's abuse in the beginning when she was a child.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Gonna have to let go of, as well as like the connections between like the wilderness and the snow being a big factor. And for her, it's kind of like a challenge to get through, So I just felt that was interesting.
That is cool. I didn't realize that. I mean, I knew the whole trauma, which I like that we're getting more info. Like, even with her tattoo, like, okay, yeah, they both got a freaking horse, but what about it? And then we find out.
Like,
That was brutal.
Oh, yeah. Like, she didn't have the money for the vet, so they had to do it. And I'm like, dude, like, one, her mom already died, right? At this moment, she had already died.
Mhm.
Like, she's already dealing with all this stuff. Like, her world is crumbling down, and now she has to, well, she didn't do it, but she saw the horse, like, die, get shot. Like, oh. I'm like, para acabarla, agrégale algo más. Like, that's sad.
Yeah, I think that would have been really traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like when they were saying like how much blood there was, and I think horses are just really big too, so I think it would have been even more dramatic just because they're so big. So
Yeah, and even the brother was like, don't look, and I was like, oh.
yeah, I was not expecting that. That was really like shocking to me to read.
Yeah, that hurt a little.
I didn't get that far.
Well, that one's coming to you, bro.
Okay. It's hard to read that part.
Yeah.
I thought it was strange when that guy Joe sent her a postcard like, "Oh, I hope you're well" or something, and I'm just like, "Ew!" Like,
I love you.
Like tóxico.
Yeah, for real.
What does he say at the end? He's like, I want to be your sober boyfriend or something like
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Your
Like
clean
tóxico.
boyfriend.
Oh my god.
And then it's interesting how she then wanted to write a letter to him. And she's like, well, I can't add that. I can't add this. And then she's like, I think it was in here that she was saying that, or even when she got the postcard, she wanted it to be from Paul.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot more where she was like, oh, like I didn't exactly want to get divorced. I didn't exactly not want to. And you kind of get more of like, okay, maybe she does still love him. And like, yes, she fucked up. But like, I feel like maybe they could end up together in the end.
Like maybe she just got married too young. Like she wasn't ready yet.
Yeah, and she,
Yeah.
Success.
yeah.
Because even like when they signed the paper, she's like, or she was telling the notary person, right?
Oh yeah.
That like this is not how they wanted to do. I don't remember the exact words, but basically that like they still love each other, but
This is not for lack of love. Just so you know, I love him and he loves me.
yeah.
And she's like, just so you know, so you don't get the wrong idea. And then this is, I underlined this part where she said, I couldn't look at him. If I looked at him, I would cry. We'd agreed to this together, but I knew that if I turned to him and proposed we forget about divorcing and get back together instead, he would agree. I didn't turn. And I'm like, she's in control. He is wrapped around her finger. And that's why I'm like, if he keeps going at it or like keeps like trying to be with her, I feel like eventually they could. Because I don't think she's completely over him. I mean, the fact that she wanted the postcard from him, even though it's like, she's like, it's not going to happen. He's not going to do it. Yeah.
And then also when they said goodbye, how they were like, they kissed and then he was confused.
Yeah.
It's just sad, but I mean, obviously it's had to happen.
I thought it was interesting too. Something I wrote down a little bit before that this is reminding me of is I know she's like her interactions with every person she meets are interesting because like some are hella nice and instantly familiar. Then some people are like a little suspicious and or a little bit meaner. But I wrote the men are interesting. They keep trying to take care of her, and that kind of reminds me of like how Paul would take care of her as well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's like why she's gonna make a connection with one of them too, especially if they are like really trying to look out for her or something.
Especially because a lot of these men are like, oh, look, here, I have this for you. Y le da una feather. And the other guy, the one towards the end, the one who was also, I think, fairly young, he was like, oh, I have something for you. And he gives her a shirt because, like, something about his spirits or her spirits or her energy. And he's like, I just think you have, like, a spirit with animals and a spirit with I don't know, like a free spirit kind of thing. And I'm like, what man just comes up to you and gives you a fucking shirt? Like, you literally just met. I don't know. Maybe the hiking.
Because they were high too.
Oh, yeah, they were. Yeah, they were high. Maybe that's the part. Because it was like a Bob Marley shirt y todo eso, but.
It sounds like a Bob Marley shirt with like Chicano or like ancient Aztec like statues in the background or something.
Yeah. Because he's Mexican. I'm just like, what are you doing, sir? I'm confused.
Also, I found like the constant hitchhiking is really interesting to me because I feel like I would not feel comfortable hitchhiking with somebody. And I know like I saw a Criminal Minds episode once where there was an older couple and they got off by doing like, you know, very risky things as in murdering people. So they would pick up homeless people and like pretend to like want to have a threesome and they would let the people take a shower to clean up. So it reminded me kind of like how she's taking showers in all these different places. And then when the people would come out of the shower, they would murder them. And I'm like, well, what if that happens to her? This is crazy that, you know, and they're so trusting. But then I also like felt like I don't think I would either pick up a hitchhiker or want to be one.
Mhm.
Carlos was just here and he was telling me that he has picked up hitchhikers from time to time, and I was just like, what is it like? You know, was it weird? Was it not weird? And I mean, I just think that's something that I found kind of intriguing.
That's interesting.
What do you guys think?
I
would definitely be scared. Like even when she was in that, I mean, I don't know if it was the last one, but the one with the green van, like she looked into it, and then the green van was behind her,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh god, these people are gonna kill her.
yeah.
But it was a couple. But then, I mean, even then, you never know. I think it's so sketchy.
Yeah,
People have weird fetishes now.
Yeah.
Or I mean, they always did, but they did a better job of hiding it back then.
Yeah.
Now it's like people just let it out and free.
Mhm.
Oh, I understand.
What is he whispering?
We'll tell you guys after we finish recording. It's a funny story, but I don't want to on YouTube.
I don't want this on YouTube.
It's not my story.
I was saying something about the hitch. Oh, I feel like as she's going through this, I don't know why I thought she was literally gonna be hiking, camping, hiking. Like that, she wasn't gonna have these stops in the city, these hotels and this, like the city. Well, not really a city, but these little towns where she's eating burgers and root beer and like. I was like, oh,
cheating, right?
yeah, like I legit thought she was only gonna eat the granola bar she's taking, only her canned freaking beans, and I'm like, because it seems like this is what they do. I'm like, you know what? I'd be kind of down to do it.
3 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be at a hotel for 3 months and then go to the end and be like, yeah, I did it.
For the photo.
No, but I'm saying, it sounds like you literally are, that's all you're doing. You're hiking the whole time.
Yeah.
When you need a rest, you rest. If you need a shower, you go to the fucking natural water and you do it. Not go to a hotel and eat.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have coffee today. I'm gonna take a candy bar. And I'm like, but is this how people do it? Maybe that's why it's okay. Like, it's,
yeah,
because you still get some of like civilization and some of your like guilty pleasure foods.
Judith, are you about to do the PCT?
I'm interested, but the fact that you encounter all these strangers, and I'm like, I don't know, dude, murderers. No, I'm not down for that part. It's scary. That's the one part where I would not.
Oh my god.
I would want to do it as a group, like with people that I'm close
Yeah.
Yeah, a huge ass group, I'm down. Me by myself, I'm like, dude, this sounds kind of interesting. Like, yeah, I'll go to a hotel, I'll do this all over there, but I don't know. As a female, it's terrifying.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I know.
Especially at night, I don't know. I couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, when I go out to walk or when I try and go on runs, I pick the most lit streets I see. And I pick the areas where I know there's a lot of white rich people that I know they're not gonna do shit. They're not even gonna be outside their houses. I don't get to do that in these trails. These towns are sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
Not down.
Probably racist.
Definitely.
I went once to one of those little towns, like outside Yosemite somewhere, and there was like an antique shop, so we went in, and it seemed like okay at first, but then we went like further back, and they had a bunch of like Nazi war memorabilia, and we were like, oh, like, it was creepy.
Oh.
That's crazy.
Oh, it's interesting she got her period. That's all. I just wrote it down. I was like, damn, she got her period and she's using the sponge and she's like, well, here I go. And then that's
like, will this be good enough?
Huh?
She was like, will this be good enough?
Yeah, I'm just like, oh shoot. Nope, not down.
See, like, but like, if you think about it, it's like now there's things that you could have done. Like if she had certain tools, like she could have used like, let's say like a menstrual cup
Yeah.
that would have held her so much better, like back then, you
Yeah.
know? Or even if she didn't have a menstrual cup or didn't feel comfortable doing it. Now they have like underwear that's like straight up like, you know, reusable.
I've seen that.
Like it's kind of like if someone would have rewrote this book like now, like there's different tools,
Yeah.
More
much
technology.
more technology. It's crazy. I haven't read to that part, but I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna
I
just,
knew that was gonna happen eventually. 3
Yeah.
months.
yeah, you have to. There's no way unless she's pregnant again. Just kidding.
That'd be a shocker.
That was crazy. I didn't think she was gonna go like on with that.
With the abortion?
Yeah.
It was interesting how they did it super quick, where they were just like, yeah, without a doubt she was gonna get the abortion, and then okay, she got it. One line.
Yeah.
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 They made it seem like it was not a big deal, which was interesting.
Mm.
But going back to the periods part, I did like how she kind of knew right away, and I thought that was cool that she's becoming more attuned to like her body and what it's doing.
Oh, we also see how she went to therapy.
Oh yeah,
She
that part I was kind
of
of confused about because they like mention it in between the area where she's going to dinner with Greg, or like in that.
Yeah.
So I was so confused because I was like, is it happening now?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It doesn't like specifically separate it. It just kind of goes. So like
Yeah.
I said, or Crystal wasn't here earlier, but I mentioned that if you're reading and you're, I don't know, we're thinking about something else, or like something distracts you for like even a few seconds, you're already like, wait, what just happened? Like, weren't we talking about therapy? And yeah, you're over here eating dinner with Greg, getting a rum and coke, you know, when she doesn't have money.
The rum and coke part down too.
She doesn't have money, dude. I was like,
It's like waste all your money on booze.
that's what I'm telling you, where I'm like, I can do the freaking PCT if I can get enough money and just be like, I'm gonna get a rum and coke tonight and then I'll keep going.
Wow.
Obviously it's not gonna happen, but I'm just like mind blown because I literally thought like you're out here like
Only in the wilderness.
survivor, like survival of the fittest, like you just gotta like all natural, and yet that's not the case.
I mean, she did ditch the deodorant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she is all natural.
I think that's all I wrote. And then Greg disappears and she's all concerned, and apparently we find out he quit.
Greg quits.
What?
Oh yeah, both of y'all down there, Diane and Crystal. She keeps looking for him, and she's like, have you seen this like 40-ish guy? He's yay high or whatever. His name is Greg. And then they're like, oh, this guy fits his description, but I don't know, and who knows what. And then eventually, who says it? The Brent guy? Apparently it's
I think so.
he's like a super experienced one that he's done it a few times, and he's like, oh yeah, he decided to do it next year or something. And then Cheryl's like, I kept going because of him, and now he quit. And it's like, whoa.
And then they're lost in a way. She has to rely on herself. She can't put her faith on these Frosted Flakes boys. But it'd be interesting.
Greg is one of the first guys she meets, right? Like on the trail.
Yeah.
And he's the one that was like, he encouraged her at first. He's like, I'll meet you at Kennedy, when she was already ready to like quit.
Yeah. And yeah, she kept saying she was gonna quit. And
Yeah.
she just kind of stuck along because like she found her like group of people, Doug and Tom and Ed, who was like, I just come here and I'm the little angel. And I was like, that is so nice. Just freaking be out there, just cook food, be like, oh yeah, you're a hiker, come over here, I'll feed you. I'm like, wow, so nice.
That does seem kind of cool though, because then you hear all the stories and like
where they're from, and
for extroverts
do that.
you stories, but you don't have to put in the physical like exertion.
Exactly, but you're still there getting the connections with these people.
Yeah.
I think there was also, I mean, towards the end, there's this bartender that hits on her.
The attractive bartender.
The attractive bartender hits on her, and she rejects him,
Oh.
which is
I thought
interesting.
she was gonna go for it.
I thought she was gonna go for it too. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm over there. Like, I'm almost done with my shift. You can like come over to party or whatever. I'll bring the bottle that you were drinking of wine." Yeah, and the fact that she's like, "Well, I gotta hike 19 miles tomorrow, and I'm actually camped over there," and then she goes back and doesn't join him. I'm like, dude. Obviously, we just said earlier that she's over here all thirsty, yet she rejected him, and she called him attractive. Like how much has changed.
Yeah. I wonder if it was because he wasn't a hiker though, because the hiking guy, she describes him a lot differently. Like she puts more detail into like their personalities, and I think she gets to know them a little more too.
Maybe.
Or maybe it has to do more with like the type of guy she's trying to fall for, you know, doesn't want to make the same mistakes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because I feel like I think she has a connection with Doug for sure, and then Brent, when he comes around, like the fact that she said no to the bartender, and then she goes over back to her like tent or whatever, and then is talking to Brent, and they're like, "Oh, make a wish," or who knows what. They're talking about making wishes, and she's like, "Oh, but if you say, don't you have to wait until shooting starts?" Like, well, we can make up our own rules. Like, it seems like they're connecting, not super flirty, but in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brent says, I thought this was cool. He said, "You could wish for a horse," when we just went over the whole horse story. And I'm like, dude, is it a fucking sign?
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
I liked it too because horses are good therapy animals. And I thought maybe she's gonna get another horse after this, and you know it's gonna help her like move on, or maybe the other guy talked about like the animals, and when like the warrior falls, they have to kill their animal too because that died. And I thought, okay, maybe there's gonna be a little bit more to this later.
That was interesting, that whole warrior thing, because it's like now my mom can rest, and I was like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the end where she made her wish.
For a horse?
It doesn't say.
Oh.
It doesn't say what she did.
Bum bum bum.
Yeah. Yeah, because it just says, I used to have a horse. I had two, actually. And then she's like, well, then you're lucky. Not everyone gets a horse. And she's like, we were silent together for several moments. I made my wish. Well, what did she wish for?
A life ever after with
I think
Dick.
she wished for Brent. Brent, how many this one condom I have?
I would think, right? Like after knowing her past, like, okay, how long has it been, girl? Ooh.
Yeah.
I still think Doug has them, and they're gonna find each other, and they're
And
gonna.
then it's all
like-
heaven.
She's gonna make baby number 2.
Yeah.
Maybe she needs her soulmate on this thing.
Maybe.
I can see that. Like now that she's a new
woman.
Yeah.
She has new perspectives on life.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going, hopefully, well, if she does find her soulmate on this journey, they would share that like similar
Mm-hmm.
Experience.
like, you know, experience. Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much all I wrote down for my notes.
Yeah, I don't have much. I'll tell you that.
Why was it such a big section? But like we'll like y'all have little to talk about.
Well, we need the other two members to hang out first.
Let me skim real quick.
Yeah, see, I put she wanted to quit 10 days out. She upgraded her backpack. I already said that. I also said doesn't need to be pretty for the men. And then I put Doug and her. The condoms are gone. One of the men or a stranger took them. And then I was like, I love how familiar the men are to her. Like every time I see her, she's like, I feel like I know them, or I feel like they're family. It's kind of nice. I think that's why I would be like, oh my gosh, I kind of want to be that one girl that's out there by herself. Obviously not anymore because Cheryl did it, but you're like, oh, let's do it. Why not? Nah.
Well, on this trail or this
this
fan, it would be.
Oh, and then you know how we were talking about the trail, we were like, huh, what happened here? That's where she bypassed with Greg.
Oh.
Yeah.
She went to Reno.
I was trying to follow it. I was like, they're not talking about this. They're not talking about that. And then it says trail pass, and that's where she bypassed with Greg, and they went all the way
So
to.
she doesn't go through. She does bypass the snow.
She bypassed it, yeah. Because the Sierra Nevada is.
Oh, it was also like when she was describing, I missed Sequoia and Yosemite, and the Tulalami Meadows. I was like, that's the good part, girl.
Those are the good ones. Yeah. So
do you think would she go back? Do you think she's gonna go back?
Maybe.
Because there's like they say that there's like some hikers that do bypass like the snow and come back and do it in a different time.
Yeah, I think she would.
I liked the concept of the free box, like take what you need, leave what you don't. Cool.
Yeah.
It's expensive too, so I think like I would definitely think carefully before leaving anything behind.
Yeah, and the thing that she found, the little pick thingy, and it was like perfect for her size. It was like meant to be. It's kind of cool.
I thought too when she ran into that lady. Well, at first I wrote getting ready in bathrooms is interesting because I've done it a few times now and it's always a little like funky. But the part where the lady ran into her and she saw the feather and she was like, oh, this is from this type of bird or something, and she goes, it represents the void. But she goes, but it doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. I thought that was interesting because I felt like, well, maybe she has a void in herself and that's what she's trying to fill by going on this trip, or the void could be the things that she's lost, like we mentioned before, like her mom, her degree, or the possibility of getting her degree, her marriage, the baby, and all these other things. So,
and it's interesting that happened in the present, and then she was talking about like the therapy stuff. I looked up the corvidology. I was like, I don't know what the hell that is, and let me see. So I looked it up, and obviously they only gave me the definition of corvid because I don't know why they didn't explain the corvidology thing. But then I came across a lot of like obviously wild, like I guess book reviews or articles or something. And as I'm trying to look for the definition for this, I read some girl, she's like, why I hate wild. And I was like, oh shoot, what the hell, what do you mean? And she said that this scene with that lady in the bathroom never happened. So like she made that up, and I was like, oh shoot, now I'm gonna start criticizing shit. If like, I mean, obviously certain things did happen and she's not gonna like make it 100%, but like this girl she was like, I hate that she included this and the lady in the hotel never even happened and blah blah blah.
I found it, the article. I'm gonna read it too.
You found it? She's like, I hate wild, something like that. Yeah. And I was like, oh no. And I was like, oh damn it, I hate that I read that. And I immediately was like, I'm not gonna continue. I don't want spoilers. What does it say, Corina?
Oh, sorry, I'm like speed reading it. This article is called I Hate Cheryl Strayed. And it says part 17 of a review of Wild. Chapter, I wish I could yellow blaze this chapter. Um, and it first starts off by describing the quote from John Muir, that the Nevada should be called the Range of Light. And then it says she doesn't know why Cheryl Strait is pointing out that part of the trail specifically. Because the trail is already named after John Muir. The person hates the chapter where they have the conversation with a lady in the casino bathroom. She says that this is one of the chapters you'll likely just skim or skip because there's nothing good about it, but there's nothing horrible about it, which makes it hard to review. She says she finds it very suspicious that she constantly finds reasons to hike alone, especially around the parts of the trail that are easily accessible by car. She writes a flowery paragraph about how she's alone in the world. And then it talks about like, oh, this one has like a GIF, so I have to show you. I think that the person is just trying to say that she's exaggerating like how difficult it was. Because it says like eventually she comes across a patch of snow that she describes as this, when it was really more like this. And they can't even.
They can't even.
I think they just really don't like her.
Yeah, they're just like
Yeah.
picking apart everything.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like,
That's a little dramatic.
I'm gonna continue.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's people that's their job to nitpick at works like that.
It's not even their job, it's like their personality. They depict, like they pull apart every little thing that happens on it, like in other people's lives, you know? Like I don't know. Those people are just bored, have nothing else to do.
Yeah, and it just says that it just seems like she's trying. Well, obviously she wrote the book about herself, so she thinks she's special. But it just kind of seems like to be really picking on her for that. Like, oh, Cheryl is so special. We already knew this, and I can't take this much longer. But if you read a biography, I feel like obviously that person is going to think they're a little bit special.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I found it too. And she keeps mentioning how the condoms were like non-lubricated and blah blah blah. Like, why does that matter?
She don't need no lube.
Oh my god. That person
She's trying to hype herself up in case, she has future suitors.
Oh.
Like, guys, I don't need lubricated condoms.
It's saying that people are hating because she actually didn't do the entire thing. She just hiked on parts of it.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that.
Yeah, I can see it too.
Well, did he even do it?
well, that's what I'm saying with like the hotel stuff.
Yeah.
They're at a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe that's how it's done, and that's how people are actually able to do it.
I know. Are these people? Do you have these people done it? Like,
Exactly.
do they just straight up hike the whole thing? Did they bypass the snow? Like,
Yeah.
And then she said, people, are just saying the weather was not bad. People did hike through all the way that year. And I think that they don't like that. She didn't hike the whole thing when I guess other people probably have done the whole thing that same year. But I do think like hiking is a very personal thing. Like you have to know your limits. And I feel like the part too where she's like doing the hotels, it's a little more like, oh, are you really, but if that's what you feel you need to do, that's also,
Especially because she didn't really practice the way Greg did. She didn't really plan for years or like more than, I don't know. I feel like she was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna do this. She didn't even read the book. Like she was not prepared. And there's other people she's seen and they're like, well, I did these other ones as practice. And I don't know. I'm not mad at that. I'm like, she did what she had.
I think that's why they that whole article was the gist is like she truly didn't do the whole thing and other people did, I guess.
Didn't she also do it by herself? I don't know if the other people did.
Yeah, I know. I don't think they're saying that she didn't do it by herself. I think they're just more angsty that, she didn't start it. Like the true whole
From
entire thing would be
point
like
A to point B.
to over here, and she skipped like real big.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she can't really say that she hiked the entire thing. She hiked parts of it, but I do feel that's like a little bit nitpicking.
But
And
I
if she's
feel like
famous, it's not anyone's fault.
but I feel like she didn't say like, hey, I hiked from point A to point B. She included a map saying bypass, and like
Yeah.
if
Mhm.
she had put like Cheryl hiked, no, she even put the missing little gap. Like she knows she didn't do it. And
Yeah. And I think it was a good move on her part because I mean there was a lot of risks, especially when she was saying how cold it was. And I think that for her not being experienced, it was probably the best choice to skip that part and keep going.
No.
now that I think about it, I'm like, dude, imagine the people who did it from Mexico all the way to fucking Oregon.
A lot of hotel trips.
But it takes like multiple months.
I know it takes months, but like all of California, dude, like it just hit me. Like, yeah, I go through California in a car.
Well, that's why
And
like
it still takes like 10 hours.
Yeah.
like when she was on the van on the I don't know if it's the
On the
last
bus.
the one the green one,
Oh.
the green van, where she's like, oh, we've already traveled 24 miles,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like imagining how she would have been walking.
Mhm.
That would have taken her 2 days.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, that is pretty crazy. I mean, that's why you have to prepare.
Yeah, you have to condition yourself for sure.
Damn, I think I'd be tired of the fucking nature. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be like, I've had enough. For months, dude.
Well, that's why you
You're just
stop. You enjoy it. You don't just go.
I know, but like she
Like
even
that.
said it in the beginning where she's like, God, I feel like I'm so much like her. Or like in the beginning she was like, oh, I imagine it's gonna be this, and then she's like, I can just hear the backpack and I can't get rid of this noise. And then she's thinking of these songs. She's like, how do these songs even go? And yeah, like I feel like that'd be me. I'd be like, oh my God. And she's
Nah, you would be bumping tunes when you're either a little radio or like some sort of little Bluetooth speaker.
I was thinking about that. I was like, if I ever did it, I would bring a speaker, but then it would die. And what would I do?
Solar panel, solar panel
Yeah,
rechargeable.
Yeah, they do have them.
You're right.
And you would charge your phone like that. You wouldn't leave your phone.
That's true.
Also true. And obviously when we find out that she goes to the hotels and all that stuff, I'm like, okay, cool. Then
You can recharge.
You could have been charging
speaker,
everything.
your phone, charge everything. They're like,
Your
it's
radio.
Back then,
it's
there
a
wasn't
different
recharge.
world now.
Batteries.
Yeah. So who's doing the PCT with me?
I mean, I'll do half.
Oh my goodness, I'm kidding. That's insane.
No, I'm actually
No, watch her come back in like 2 years, guys. I have it all planned out.
Yeah, I can see it.
I'd be down.
No.
I mean,
That would be cool.
Maybe you could do it in parts.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do like a piece of it 1 year, 6 months later, do a little piece of it. Like do them in like let's say like 50-mile like kind of increments, you know? And like spend like a few days camping. Like make it like a week thing, you know?
Yeah.
Each time.
I don't
That
know.
would be cool.
Seems kind of nice, but I'm like,
Because, like, looking at the map, it goes through at least the next section that she's going to be going through. It's spots that I want to go to. Like, I want to go to Bernie Falls. I want to go to Lassen Peak, Mount Shasta, Crater Lake.
I really want to go to Crater Lake.
Other places in Oregon. I don't know. I don't know what those are, but they just.
I want to go to Three Sisters. Let's go to Three Sisters and take a picture and be like, it's us.
You don't even know what that is.
I don't, it says Three Sisters.
Nonsense.
Who cares?
I mean, I'm down.
It's a mountain.
Yeah. And then it goes through Tahoe. Like we could start at Kings Canyon and go from there.
Yeah.
Skip the desert.
Yeah, I agree.
Kings Canyon is Sequoia.
Yeah, that's why.
That's close to where Claudia lives, so we can rendezvous with her.
We could, yeah.
Hours.
We can shower and have alcohol at her place.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Nah, I wouldn't do it. It's too much time.
You're not having it.
Okay, what's the next section?
Let's see. I think Crystal usually helps.
Is it just the next part?
I think that's what.
Yeah, it's just the next part. For the next 2 weeks, we're just gonna read each part
Okay.
because then we're done.
Yeah, we're already more than halfway.
Yeah, because like the next, we only have what? Yeah, we only have 2 parts left.
Part 4 and part 5?
Yeah. So so this week we can just read part 4, and then the last week we'll read part 5.
Okay.
So it'll be easy, right? Just read part 4.
Yeah.
And that part 5 will decide the new book.
Mm-hmm. Already.
I know.
What book are we gonna pick for the end of the year?
Dr. Sleep. Let's see.
Did you get a book of?
How about The Hunger Games?
Oh, I read that one
Not-
already.
No, not that one, but the
new one?
Yeah, the new one.
Oh, I haven't read that one. Me too.
Good.
But I haven't read any of that.
What?
No, I got it from the library.
What did he say, Crystal?
I haven't read any of them.
Well, then you.
What? Well, you
start
don't
now.
need to read any of them to understand this one.
It says.
No, I don't know. I assume. Because it's not based. I mean, it is based on that, but
It's
it's.
like a prequel, right?
Yeah. If anything, it'll be better if you read it.
It'll encourage me to read the entire series.
Yeah, I actually haven't read them. I just watched the movies.
Very good. Books.
I have them all.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have ebooks and hard and paperback.
Okay, chapter 4. Let me stop the recording.